Hello everyone and welcome back to my YouTube channel. My name is Pauline the Analyst and today we're about to unlock the power of the SQL Group By clause. This you can use it as your secret weapon when you're trying to transform raw data into meaningful insights. So whether you're analyzing sales trends, calculating averages, or even building reports, the SQL Group By clause is your go-to tool. So let's dive in. So in this video, we are going to cover 1. What group by actually does and why it's different from order by. 2. The 5 essential aggregate functions you need to know. 3. A step-by-step setup with a sample sales database. 4. How to filter grouped results with having versus where. And finally, real-world examples from e-commerce and analytics. So let's get started. In my next segment, I want us to understand what group by is. So it works in 3 steps. 1. Splits data into groups, e.g. by product or region. 2. Applies calculations like sums or counts to each group. 3. Returns one row per group with the results. So let's get going. So in my next segment, I want us to set up our sales database. So let's create a realistic sales table to practice with. So I want us to create this table called sales. So we'll start with create table and the table name is sales. Then open your brackets. Next, we want to create our columns, and my first column will be the sale ID, and since it's a number, its data type will be an integer, and it will be the primary key of the table. Next column will be the product column, and since it's text, its data type will be a varchar, and I do not want it to have more than 50 characters. My next column will be a region column, and since it's text, its data type will be varchar, and I do not want it to have more than 50 characters. My next column will be the amount, and since we all know amount can have decimals, so its data type will be a decimal. My final column will be the sale date, and since it's a date, its data type will be a date. So let's close our bracket and finish our query, highlight it and then execute it. And voila! Our command has been completed successfully. So next I want us to insert sample data into this table. And we all know to insert data into a table, we use insert into. And our table name is sales. And we are inserting values into this table. So for my first row, I have the sale ID, which is 1, the product, which is laptop, the region, which is east, the amount, which is 1200, and finally, the sale date, which is 15th of January, 2023. Next row will have the sale ID, which is 2, the product, which is phone, the region is west, the amount is 800, the date is the 20th of January 2023. My next row will have the sale ID, which is 3, the product, which is laptop, the region, which is west, the amount, which is 1100, and the date, which is 5th of February 2023. Next row will be the sale ID is 4, the product is the headphones, the region is east, the amount is 150, and the date is the 10th of February 2023. And then my final row, we have the sale ID, which is 5, the product, which is phone, the region is east, the amount is 750, and the date is the 1st of March 2023. So close your bracket and then execute it. And voila, 5 rows have been affected. So on to my next segment, I want us to understand basic group by demo, okay? So let's find total revenue by product. So to do this, we'll start by select. Then I will insert the rows that I'll be using. In this case, we have the product. And the other row which I'll be using will be the amount column, and we'll be finding the sum of this column. So that will be sum of the amounts as the total revenue. All this we get it from the sales table, and we group by product. So finish your query, highlight it, and then execute it, and voila. So as you can see from my screen, each product, that is, we have the laptop, the phone, etc. All of this gets into one row, as you can see. And then the amount, we found the sum of the amount column calculates the total per group. So in this case, headphones was 150. It generated 150. Laptop generated 2,300. Phone generated 1,550, and so on and so forth. So on to our next segment, I want us to understand essential aggregate functions. And I want us to understand that group by shines when paired with these 5 functions. The first function is the count function. So this will tell us the number of sales per region, okay? So to find this, we'll use select. We'll be using the region column, then the count function, into bracket asterisks, as this is the alias. So whatever name I put on this as will be shown on the table, okay? So for me, it will be the number of sales from the sales table. And I want us to group by the region. Highlight your query and then execute it. And voila, as you can see from my screen. So with region, we have East and West. In the East, they only made 3 sales. In the West, they only made 2 sales. So moving on swiftly, we are going to use the average function. I want us to find the average sale amount by product. So we'll start with select. The column name that I'll be using will be the product. We introduce the average function, and we're finding the average of the amount column. Its alias will be the average price from the sales table, and we want to group by product. So highlight your query and then execute it, and then voila, as you can see, the headphones average price is 150, laptop average price is 1150, and finally the phone's average price is 775. So the next function will be the maximum or minimum function. And I want us to understand that this gets us the most or the least expensive sale per region. Then finally, we have the sum function. This will get us the total revenue. And as you saw, we did this. So always alias your aggregates. For example, as the total revenue for readability. Okay? So on to our next segment, I want us to understand the having versus where clause. So, do you want to filter groups and not rows? You need to use having. So, I want us to understand where filters before grouping, having filters after grouping. So, for example, we want to find products with total revenue of over $1,000, okay? So, we'll write select. The columns I'll be using will be the product column. Then we'll find the amount column, the sum of the amount. And this will be, I will name it as the total revenue. And all this will be from the sales table. We want to group by product. And we'll use the having function, the sum of the amount, to be greater than $1,000. So I want us to understand that this having function filters the grouped results. Do you understand? This is the grouped result, okay? So let's highlight it and then execute it. And voila! Our laptop has 2,300 in revenue and phones have 1,550 in revenue. Then in our next segment, we want to go to the multi-column grouping. So let's analyze revenue by product and region. So I want us to select the product column, the region column, and the sum of the amount column as the revenue. All this is from the sales table. We want to group by product and region. And then we want to also order by the product and the revenue, okay? But I want it in a descending order. So let's highlight our query and then execute it. And voila, as we can see on my screen, we have the product, we have the region, and the revenue. So in headphones, in the East, it generated 150 in revenue. Laptop also in the East generated 1,200 in revenue. Laptops in the West generated 1,100 in revenue. Phones in the West generated 800 in revenue. And finally, phones in the East generated 750 in revenue. So let's move on to the next segment, which will be real-world use cases. Number 1, we have in e-commerce. This is the best-selling products per category. Number 2, we have finance, which gives you monthly revenue reports. And finally, we have healthcare, and this gives you the average patient visits per department. In my next segment, I want us to understand the common pitfalls and optimization. So the number 1 mistake that we can do is, number 1, add indexes to grouped columns. And 2, filter data with where before grouping. Very, very simple. That's Group By, your key to data summarization. If this video helped, don't forget to smash that like button and subscribe for more future SQL tutorials. Got any questions or suggestions for future videos? Drop them in the comment section below. So until next time, happy coding!